socks, and the ball is straight out of play as Rangers Champions League adventure proper gets underway for the first time in 12 years. And here is Daley Blind, the former Manchester United man, plays it forward for Ajax from the throw. Picked up by Rangers, and Tillman will run you through the lineups in a moment, but Ajax win the ball back just inside their own half, playing from right to left. Good interception by Goldson, who will send the ball all the way back to McLaughlin, who is quickly closed down by Berghaus. Ball over the halfway line, and Ajax will tidy that up at the back. So Rangers with McLaughlin in goal, the back four of Tavernier, Goldson, Sands and Barisic. Ahead of them it's Kamara and Lundstrom, with Wright, Tillman and Kent supporting Antonio Cholak up front. And once again Alfredo Morelos left on the bench by Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Here are Ajax in possession, and it's the former Rangers man, Calvin Bassey. Record sale for Rangers this summer. Ajax's second most expensive player behind Bergwijn in their history. On the ball, plays it forward out to the left-hand side, and the orange-booted Daley Blind over the halfway line now. And here is Bergwijn in brilliant form, 7 goals in 6 games for Ajax this season. And Taylor coming forward now for Ajax to the edge of the penalty area, left-hand side, plays it forward. It's poor for Blind, and it's out for a Rangers goal kick. So Ajax with Pasveer, their regular number 1 in goal. The back four of Wrench, Timber, who had a brilliant season last season. He's just been named the Eredivisie Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year for last season as well. Bassey and Blind. Ahead of them it's Tadic, formerly of Southampton, the captain. Alvarez, who Chelsea tried very hard to sign on deadline day, but Ajax, having lost multiple players over the summer, 2 big ones in Anthony and Lisandro Martinez to Manchester United, just would not let him go. And Taylor complete the midfield. Berghaus, Bergwijn and Karius up front as Rangers win a free kick just inside their own half, 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, Rangers are actually, physically a very strong team, and in comparison to Ajax, that's something that they can really work hard on, because I think if they can get free kicks and corner kicks with good quality from dangerous areas, I think they can get some capsule out of that, because they are man for man quite a bit taller and more physical, but technique-wise, they might not be quite as good. We shall see.
Picked up by Tillman for Rangers, just inside the Ajax penalty area. He's being held up by 2 defenders, so we'll squeeze the ball out to the left-hand side. Here is Barisic as the boos start to ring around the Johan Cruyff Arena. But Rangers enjoying a spell of possession here with Goldson now in the centre circle, plays it out to the right-hand side, and Tavernier, the captain, digs it forwards, won't quite be brought down by Cholak and won't find its way through to Scott Wright either. And the ball is out for an Ajax throw. Couple of team news decisions that we expected, Pad, in terms of Cholak starting and McLaughlin as well. As Van Bronckhorst got those 2 decisions right?
Well, Cholak's an absolute stick-on, because Morelos isn't fully fit yet, and there'll always be questions about, one question you don't ask about Morelos, can he score goals? So if he can come on and be lively and give a good 20-25 minutes at the end of the game, he could be a very important player. But that's as much about to do with his fitness and his mindset as well. So that's a big player, and the goalkeeper as well. It was made to sound like a big decision. I don't think it was. I think it was a stick-on. He was always going to start tonight.
And it is McLaughlin in bright orange. He plays the ball forward to the halfway line. It won't be won by Lundstrom and picked up now by Ajax. And their number 20, Mohamed Karius, who scored in the last match against Cambuur, a 4-0 victory for Ajax in the Eredivisie. And his reward is his first start of the season in the Champions League this evening. 0-0, 4 minutes played here on 5 Live as Ajax have it inside their own half.
Do you know, one of the joys of coming to this stadium, we've got brilliant possession right on the halfway line over the top. We'll finish that in a moment because of an attack.
Ajax building down the right-hand side. They have the red and white shirts to aim for in the penalty area, but will play the ball back to Edson Alvarez halfway through the Rangers half. Central position, and here is Timber out to the right-hand side once again, and Wrench picked up now and swung into the area. Good clearance away by Tavernier to the edge of his own penalty area. Rangers under pressure here though, as Ajax win the ball back, but adjudged to have been a handball in there. Bergwijn kicks the ball away in mild frustration, and it will be a free kick to Rangers just inside their own penalty area, goalless.
Well, talking about seeing this brilliant view, we've got a bird's eye view of it. And one of the best teams in world football to watch in terms of technique and systems is Ajax. It generally always is. I just watched them these first 5 minutes or so. You don't know what system they're playing. they're all over the place. Blind at one moment has been centre midfield, another moment he's left back. At some points they've been a back three, and at some points they're a back four. They're all interchangeable with each other. Honestly, they are a joy and a confusion to watch.
Bassey wins the header. Rangers win the free kick as Goldson goes down just inside his own half. Yes, interesting to see how Ajax progress under their new manager, Alfred Schroeder. Erik ten Hag, of course, off to Manchester United in the summer, and that's the thing, it wasn't just player turnover for Ajax, it was losing their manager as well.
But there is a history here, you know, and you know the best of their teams often played a 4-3-3, but it was such an adaptable 4-3-3, and that's what they've done tonight, and it certainly looks that style.
Goldson's ball over the top just can't quite be taken in his stride by Kent. It was a good delivery from the centre half. Ajax under a bit of pressure inside their own penalty area play their way out of trouble very well, and Timber will play the ball down the right hand side. Goalless here on 5 Live as the ball over the top looking for Bergwijn. It's all the way through to McLaughlin, who just chests it down inside his own penalty area and will play it out to the left hand side in James Sands.
And that's one of the joyous things when you watch some teams in England, they're brilliant at playing out from the back. And some, let's be fair, are not quite so good. You watch Ajax, it's so natural, it's so comfortable. Hey, they might still make mistakes if they're closed down, but every single defender is so comfortable on the ball.
Goalless here at the Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam, and it is Ajax in possession. Ajax, the 4-time winners of the Champions League / European Cup. The last time was all the way back in 1995, and as you say, Pat, they're a club that believe that they should be right up there in terms of pushing on into the latter stages, as of course they did when a British side visited here in Tottenham back in 2019. That quite remarkable night, particularly if you're a Tottenham fan. Lucas Moura's hat-trick sending Tottenham through on away goals. Ajax in possession. Here is Daley Blind, plays it to the edge of the centre circle. And I have to say, as we look around the packed stands, 5 minutes before kick-off, when the songs really got going, the noise in here was absolutely remarkable. We know that Ibrox will provide that once more this season in the Champions League. But as Ajax have it in the centre circle, I'm holding my notepad and I could feel the vibrations from the stadium coming through that. I'm not sure I've experienced that in a football stadium before, as Rangers win the ball just outside their own penalty area. And the ball is all the way back with Goldson, who in turn sends it all the way back to McLaughlin, who is closed down by Kudus. Will be played out to the left-hand side. Tillman won't keep hold of it though for Rangers. Kent then goes down over on that far side, but the assistant says that it will be a throw to Rangers rather than anything else.
You know, it's not the worst thing in the world that Rangers haven't got a huge amount of possession just now. They know how to do that now. They've had that in Europa League last season. You go away from home, and there's some places you go that you have to just be sensible about it. Let the opposition get the ball in places that are not dangerous. However, at some point, you need to build some sort of bridgehead. You need to get on the ball. And I think that's where it's important that Ryan Kent, Fabio's player on the left-hand side, and Tillman, those quality players need to get on the ball and give those, you know, defenders some sort of respite when they possibly can. At the moment, very little possession from Rangers.
Yeah, Ajax certainly dominating the ball, as you would expect in their home stadium, with the way that they play as well. Here is Bergwijn, the former Tottenham man. Plays it off down the left-hand side to Daley Blind. Now infield as Ajax, so patient, just happy to knock the ball around and then go through the gears as Bergwijn turns away from the attentions of 2 blue shirts. Now plays it downfield, half an appeal for offside as Taylor picks it up and fires it in off Kamara, and it's behind for the first corner of the game. It goes to the home side, Ajax.
Can't afford to switch off like that, and I think it was Kamara. He let him run. It was Taylor who made the run there. He said he thought he was going to run offside. Don't take that chance. See, if you think somebody's offside, they're not. So you have to chase. So just one little switch on for concentration, and it's taken 10 minutes to happen, and so that's not actually too bad.
So corner swung in by Tadic. Oh, free header on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it is sent over the bar. What a big chance that was for Jurrien Timber, the 21-year-old, who was in such scintillating form for Ajax last season. Big opportunity, not taken.
Well, I hardly get the words out saying they hadn't switched off, and he switched off again. I mean, if you're at the near post and you're getting a clean header, an absolutely clean header, with no Rangers players physically near him there, that's a real concern again for Giovanni van Bronckhorst. He'll not be delighted with that. Well, we can tell he's out at the edge of his technical area already, having a shouting ball at his two centre-halves.
Should be 1-0 Ajax, but it is still goalless here on 5 Live. 10 minutes gone in this first half. Of course, with a great player. He's won the Champions League with Barcelona back in 2004, beating Arsenal.
One of the big things for Rangers fans, they'll know fine well themselves. They don't need me to tell it. It's when Tavernier plays. Roddy Forsyth was making this point at the weekend. When he plays well, Rangers tend to play well. But that means him getting forward. Problem is, he's against a very good player tonight in Berghuis. You know, and to actually leave his post and fly forward, considering they've already got in twice behind him already, that's pushing Tavernier back, and that's a real shame for Rangers because they really need him adding something up the wide areas.
Timber plays the ball forward, will be picked up on the far side for Ajax. Goalless here on 5 Live. Nice little 1-2 inside the penalty area. Ball across, cleared away by Goldson, but again, the Dutch champions looking dangerous here in Amsterdam as Blind picks it up on the left-hand side. Rangers dropping deep. Here is Bergwijn. Ever dangerous, goes for goal. Shot wasn't dangerous on that occasion, wide of McLaughlin's post. But you can see the confidence that Bergwijn has at the moment.
Yeah, he's got confidence to go in. But I thought the play on the right-hand side was more impressive. He's just cut on another shot. He's not caught it well. However, on the right-hand side, they cut through that Rangers defence as if it wasn't there. And, you know, they are just beginning to motor a wee bit. And that's why I say it's imperative that someone in that midfield specifically gets a hold of the ball for Rangers. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, possession in your own half and you pass it back and pass it along your back line. You need to get some sort of possession. At the moment, they're just really struggling to get on the ball.
They do have a throw though. Will be taken by the captain, Tavernier. Forward looking for Scott Wright, picked up by Cholak, and now Tillman tried to squeeze it out to the left-hand side in Kemp, but it was well read by Ajax. And here is Alvarez all the way back to Remco Pasveer. Clears along up towards the halfway line. Goalless here on 5 Live as Ajax give the ball away. Again, Scott Wright though just can't quite make the most of it, and Ajax win it back and send it out to this left-hand side with Daley Blind just outside his own penalty area. Reminder, commentary of Napoli against Liverpool, the other match taking place tonight in Group A, coming up for you on 5 Live. 8 o'clock, Ian Dennis and Jonathan Woodgate, your team for that. Of course, we'll have updates as well from Tottenham against Marseille. John Murray will be across all the action there. Here in Amsterdam, 0-0 between Ajax and Rangers, on Rangers return to the Champions League proper for the first time in 12 years. Here is Timber, plays it forward to Kudus, the striker who has come back very deep to receive the ball and trying to spring an Ajax attack. And once again, they come down the right-hand side, a couple of players over, the deflection is behind for an Ajax corner, but the combinations that Ajax are building down that right-hand side with Wrench and Berghuis are very impressive.
Yeah, and they've got an overload in Barisic all the time, haven't they? You know, and because they've got an overload there, an overlap, they didn't get it quite right there. Managed to get a corner out of it, but I think Barisic will need a little bit of help quite soon.
Corner for Rangers to defend. It's played in low this time, laid off by Tadic, but only to Scott Wright, and Kent will try and counter for Rangers. Down the left-hand side, Ajax are getting the red and white shirts back, and Kent plays it into one of them, and Ajax allow that ball to spin out for a throw. Rangers claim it's not going to go their way. Got to stay switched on here. Barisic once again with defending to do down that left-hand side as the red and white shirts wait in the penalty area. Ball pulled back to the edge of the box. The ricochet will be cleared away by Rangers. Cholak back so deep defending, but that's a good ball to spring Tillman over the halfway line. Has to check once more, trying to find the run through the centre of Kent. He's still going, Tillman. He's done really well there. It's getting the players back. The shot driven in by Cholak from 20 yards, blocked away. Kamara will pick it up, left-hand side of the penalty area, shepherded away by Wrench. But Barisic now picks it up. First time he's really been able to get forward, but just too much on it to Kamara, who was right in front of him, only a couple of yards, just needed to caress it. Instead, he fired it at his teammate, and Ajax have it back once more. But Malik Tillman has been such a bright spark in this season so far for Rangers, and there, just another little glimpse, wasn't there, Pat, of what the 20-year-old can do.
Yeah, the problem was he picked the ball up and had to run 70 yards. By the time he got to the edge of the box, he ran out of gas slightly, but yeah, he's got real quality, and that's probably the best moment of the game for Rangers, because not only Tillman went, but 3 or 4 blue shirts went with him as well. So if that's the game plan, you know, just sit back a little bit, take as much pressure as you possibly can, and play on the break. It can work. I watched the game last night when that worked very well. Chelsea faltering against Dynamo Zagreb.
Here come Ajax down the left-hand side. Taylor, though, sees his ball forward blocked. Ajax will pick it up once more with Bergwijn dropping deep and now stepping in field. As you say, Pat, the system is just so fluid. Rangers really having to stay switched on to work out moment by moment what the Ajax players are doing in terms of shape, and it takes so much concentration when the other side has the ball anyway, and they keep switching things up. Again, mentally, you have to be so focused, as Bassi will just allow that to run.
Well, look at the only person in the back. The only person in the back line that isn't moving is Bassi. He's a new signing. He's basically generally staying centre back. Everybody else is totally mobile.
Space on the right hand side now as Ajax build again. Good covering by Sands. Berghouse's ball in. Is blocked behind for the corner.
Well done, Sands. And that's what we're talking about. There was an overload again there, but he's the left centre back and he's got out there and helped. But he's shouting his centre midfielder, left midfield player, get back and help your defender.
So the red and white shirts dotted around the penalty area. Tadic is drifting dangerously. Ball is swung in and headed in. Powerful header, and Edson Alvarez runs away in celebration. It's been coming inside the opening 17 minutes. Ajax's pressure pays off. Alvarez scores. Ajax lead Rangers by a goal to nil.
Well, they can't say they went wrong, Rangers. It's corner kick about 7 or 8 minutes ago from the other side, and it was a free header at the near post. And I said, well, you can't switch off too often here. Well, they switched off there. I mean, there's absolutely nobody making an attempt to go and get close. You cannot be allowed in the centre of the 6-yard line to have no one attacking the ball apart from Alvarez. Not one single player. Now they've linked up in what is seen as a zonal marking there, but you've got to try and attack the ball as well. You've got to get up there and get close to people. That's as easy a goal as you will score for a corner kick as you will see. Well done, puts it in the bottom corner, nice little header, but he's doing it as if there's no players there beside him. 1-0, undeserved so far.
And you have to say, Pat, as Rangers get us underway once more, they'd had the warning, hadn't they, as you touched on there, the Timber header that really should have gone in. That was a free header as well. Warning signs not heeded by Rangers. And I know that was something that frustrated so many Rangers fans at the weekend as well, in a different way, but again from dead ball situations, the quick throw-ins that we know Celtic love to take at Celtic Park, just again the warning and the warning came and it wasn't heeded. It must be so frustrating for
well spotted, Vicky, because in the build-up to that, you remember on the right-hand side there, they took a quick throw and 2 Rangers players were complaining to the referee. That's exactly what happened at the weekend, and exactly what Gio Van Bronckhorst didn't want them to do, and they did it again on that occasion, and that led to them losing the corner kick, which then led to the goal.
So 1-0 Ajax lead here on 5 Live, as Blimp won't keep that in on the near side, and it will be a throw to Rangers. Rangers, who enjoyed such a fairy tale run to the Europa League final last season, and of course that would have put them in the Champions League as well had they won it. So the resilience to come back from that, to get through 2 qualifying rounds, to reach the Champions League group stages, beating PSV Eindhoven as well. Again, a big force, of course, in Dutch football. There are reasons to believe for Rangers, but there are reasons to be frustrated as well. And that application, when they see the warning signs but don't heed them, I think will be top of the list for Rangers fans listening to us at the moment. Yeah, and it's difficult because you're looking around, all the players are looking around thinking, we need to get the ball, we need to hold the ball, we need to get some sort of foothold. They've very, very rarely in this game, and we're nearly 20 minutes in, had an attack where they've had 5 or 6 passes together, whereas Ajax completely dominating the ball. It's imperative they manage to do that, but I can't see them being able to at the moment. Having said that, that resilience you're talking about, that's in Rangers' game. So, you know, don't write this game off yet. Well, that is something that was so evident, wasn't it, last season? Never write Rangers off in Europe. It's only 1-0, it's 19 minutes played. It's Ajax, though, still in possession, dominating the ball, although they've given it away there through Tadic, their captain. Kent is then cynically chopped down, and it will be a free kick for Rangers midway through their own half.
It's got to be a yellow. That's total cynicism. I mean, Kent's gone away, there's great pace. He's tackled him on his thigh and just above. Why that's not a yellow card, I have no idea. Well, I have a big idea. There might be something got to do with 50,000 people in red shirt and bawling here. But that's a yellow card all day long.
Ajax win possession on the halfway line, leading by a 1-0 in field to Kudus, halfway through the Rangers half, as they just knock it around once more. And here is the goal scorer, Edson Alvarez. Ball forward now, incisive to Kudus, steps past Lundstrom, lovely turn, still going Kudus, plays it out to the right-hand side again. Barisic with defending to do, Ajax working it very well, and that's a very good save by McLaughlin. Turns the ball behind from close range for a corner, but it's all Ajax at the moment.
It's, I mean, they are playing beautiful football, and it's a kind of joy to watch. But for Rangers fans, they're down in that corner where all the pressure is. Well, they're watching, but they're watching through their fingers at the moment.
Approaching the midway point of the first half, Ajax looking to double their lead with this corner. Tillman wins the header, sends it to the edge of the penalty area, and then gets second contact as it came back in. Spins out of play for an Ajax throw on the left-hand side.
Well, it's worth underlining, and I think Rangers fans know this as well. I mean, they've lost a goal from a corner kick there. And you have to mention it. Their best centre-back's playing for the opposition tonight. And he was the core of everything, attacking everything last season. So they really do miss that, and because they've got one or two injuries, and they're playing Sands in there, who's not an absolute natural centre-back, it's very, very noticeable that they are lighter there. They've got plenty of physical qualities, they're a tall team, but centre-halves are different. They can attack it, and they don't half miss Bassey in that area. Absolutely.
Rangers in possession on the left-hand side, and yeah, you mentioned the injuries. It is a problem position for them at the moment. John Souttar, Philippe Helander still out. Ben Davies is back on the bench, incidentally, after injury, but of course, losing a player the calibre of Calvin Bassey, such a huge part of their season last campaign, won their Young Player of the Year, record sale for Rangers when he moved to Ajax, and very much went with the best wishes of the club. But, you know, it, of course, is something that you have to adjust to, and it's difficult to do so.
Well, the money they got for him was almost equal to the money you get for getting to the Champions League stages, so they couldn't turn that down. However, well, Bassey's a special player.
Ajax coming again. Here is Bergwijn, lays it off, almost went for the 1-2 in the penalty area, and the ball rolls through to McLaughlin, but the confidence with which Ajax are playing will be a concern to Rangers.
Yeah, it's almost like an elongated five-a-side game in the playing up front, isn't it? I mean, they pass it, they move off each other, the 1-2s are brilliant, the understanding between those forwards. I mean, they're good players. Bergwijn, Berkus, very, very good players, but very impressed with Tadic as well. We've seen them all before. They can all play, but they're playing in a system that seriously suits them just now.
Free kick taken quickly by Ajax as Bassey went down, well read by Tavernier, who sprays the ball out to the left-hand side. It's a great delivery, collected by Kent, as Rangers look to get back on level terms. Little slip there, and Rangers could be in here down the left-hand side. All right, can't latch onto it. It's laid off by Kamara, back in by Tavernier, but the ball in the end out to the left-hand side. Now Barisic surely coming back from an offside position. Yes, he was. Initially he left it, knew that nobody else was going to get there in a blue shirt, so thought might as well try my luck. But the assistant on this near side had tracked him, and it's a free kick to Ajax, who still leads by a 1-0.
Better move though, much better move from Rangers though. They got themselves in a very good position there. It was just a little bit of a shame when the original cross was coming in. Wright was favourite to win it, except he's a winger. He just got nudged off the ball there. Had he gone and attacked it with everything he had, he would have got his head on it. No one would have got in front of him, and that was a real decent chance that they didn't really take it, they make the best of, which is a shame because I don't know how many chances there's going to be for Rangers tonight.
They trail by a 0-0 here in Amsterdam on 5 Live. Remember all the reaction to this match on the Football Daily podcast. You can download that from BBC Sounds, and you can also listen to our commentary this evening with the final score graphics and the video printer. Just go to the BBC iPlayer or the BBC Sport app and click on 5 Live final score. Napoli against Liverpool, commentary to come from 8 o'clock with updates from Tottenham against Marseille, as well as Ajax build down the left-hand side. Good ball by Daley Blind to Mohamed Kudus. In field now to Stephen Bergwijn, back to Kudus, they're knocking it around beautifully here, Ajax. Space inside the penalty area, it was a poor ball back across in the end. Cleared away by Lundstrom, will be picked up by Rangers, but Tadic has it back for Ajax. And the ball is played back now on the halfway line as the Dutch champions just knock it around once more. Dusan Tadic is an interesting one, of course. Southampton fans and those who follow the Premier League will know him from his time there, captain of Ajax, but his form has been questioned of late, and you do wonder, players like him with such evident talent, whether they feel as though they have a bit of a point to prove or whether they just shrug all of that off as Ajax come down the right-hand side, dangerous again into the penalty area, pulled back, won't quite be met in the 6-yard box, but Rangers can't get it away. Still inside the penalty area, here is Berghuis, right-hand side of the box, has Lundstrom for company. Berghuis crosses the ball, looking for the space on that far side. It's cleared away by Rangers. Tillman is beaten to it by Bassi, and there's a huge cheer from the Johan Cruyff Arena for the former Rangers man, as he has it now on the right-hand side. Plays it back once more as Ajax very calmly, very coolly, leading by a goal to nil, very happy to go all the way back to their own half and timber.
Yeah, it sums it up. Bassi's now decided to get in the act. He's playing in the right wing. But again, they get to the byline with such ease, don't they? It's one of the hardest things to do in football, apart from scoring goals, is get to the byline and get crosses in. But the amount of times that they've already done so in this first half, particularly in the right-hand side, is very impressive. It's almost Manchester City-esque.
Still, just the 1-0 lead though for Ajax against Rangers here on 5 Live. They have it on the halfway line with Daley Blind forward now to Mohamed Kudus, and now in field to Bergwijn, another with a bit of a point to prove after frustrating spell at Tottenham. Of course, such quality to try and edge out in the starting lineup there. As Ajax come into the penalty area, oh, they're playing it nicely. That's a really poor ball across. There was a suspicion of offside, but the flag stayed down. And if only Wrench had been able to pick out a teammate, that would have been 2-0 Ajax.
Honestly, can you actually watch that without saying the phrase knife through butter? Because it's exactly what it looks like. I mean, lovely 1-2s, third man runs, and it's just that final pass there. But I'm still looking at going, that is a thing of absolute beauty. And, you know, to the listener, if you're listening, you know when Arsenal play at their very, very best, they pass and they move and there's 1-2s, and everyone seems to understand what everyone else is doing. I mean, it's classic like that type. I mean, there's a link between all these teams like City and Arsenal and Ajax, and to be fair, Rangers are finding this very, very tough indeed. They need to hang on, somehow get to half-time without losing another goal.
They are in possession just outside their own penalty area. They have the ball now on the left-hand side. Tillman under pressure, challenged by Ajax's goal scorer Edson Alvarez. Now the assistant on that far side, not too sure which way it should go. It is a free kick to Rangers, and they get things moving quickly. Here is Lundstrom, just outside his own penalty area. They square it now to Tavernier, closed down immediately by 2 red and white shirts. Nice little interchange though with Kamara, but then the ball was a little short from Tavernier, and Ajax have picked it up and it's slid into the penalty area by Tadic. That's an excellent interception, covering challenge by Sands, and Tillman will play the ball forward. Wrong decision, Kent had checked his run, it's wasted, it's through to the Ajax goalkeeper Pasveer. But what about that for a sliding interception from Sands there?
Yeah, to be fair, it's good defending, and there have been 5 or 6 pieces of great individual defending by Rangers players. But see, when you have to last-ditch tackle every single time, that's not a good sign, and that's not what the manager wants to see. Yes, they applaud these players for the effort, and there's no lack of effort there by those Rangers defenders, but every single time that, you know, not every single time, but close to it, the Ajax attack, it's needing something brilliant and something last-ditch to stop Ajax getting through 1-on-1 with McLaughlin,
who's made a good save himself at his near post as well, to keep it to just 1-0. As Ajax build once more down the right-hand side, and we have to say as well, it's a warm evening here in Amsterdam. Not conditions that we've seen at the height of the heat wave in terms of having to deal with it, but staying switched on. mentally focused in an atmosphere that's not just about the temperature but about the noise that these Ajax fans will make. All a challenge for Rangers. They're trailed by a goal to nil here on 5 Live, and they've lost possession outside their own penalty area. Here is Daley Blind, pulls it back. The shot is urged from Tadic, who eventually does shoot straight into Barisic. Spins out for an Ajax throw. The pressure from the Dutch champions is relentless.
Such a high press there, isn't it? They get the ball back. Rangers are, you know, they're only about 20 yards out. They've lost the ball. There's 2 or 3 players out of the play. They cannot get a hold of the ball in midfield. There's not one player that's been able to do it. They've tried to hold on, but anytime a player takes more than 2 touches, there's 3 red and white shirts all over them, and they just can't build anything.
Ball is all the way back with the Ajax keeper, Pasveer, and as we look up to that grouping of Rangers fans, the blue shirts up high in the stands to our left, the arms are folded, faces are tense, and Ajax are coming forward once more. Ball into the area, just too much on it for Kudus. He doesn't even bother jumping on the edge of the 6-yard box because the ball was too high, but he does give the thumbs up for the effort, and McLaughlin will send this forward for Rangers.
Just watching Barisic on the far side there, and the ball's come down his line side again. There was an overlap on again, and he's got his arms out waiting. Any chance of some help here, please? And it's imperative that one of his deep line midfielders goes and helps him. By the way, Rangers giving the ball away again there in the midfield there. It's just constant, isn't it? It's constant.
And they're coming forward once more. Ajax, deflection and in. 2-0 to Rangers. 2-0 to Ajax, I should say. Berghuis with the effort that took the deflection. And Rangers simply cannot stem the tide of the Dutch champions. James Sands there in frustration, tosses the ball up towards the halfway line, and frustration at the moment is the word that sums this up for Rangers. Their return to the top table of European football is not going as planned, because Ajax quite simply have been too much for them this evening. The effort from Berghuis, the deflection in is cruel. It takes it past McLaughlin from Sands, and it's 2-0 to Ajax.
Well, I was talking before about those last-ditch tackles. Well, they're having to put that last-ditch tackle in there, but it's just deflected off Sands and gone in. He's a bit unlucky there. In the end, if you've got a team that's attacking you constantly, getting through, particularly on that right-hand side, time and time again, eventually the dike is going to burst, and it has burst there. At this point in time, Rangers are being so outclassed, you do kind of worry. Another goal before half-time, and it would get very, very concerning for the Rangers fans there, the Rangers manager, and indeed every player on that pitch.
Ajax it is in possession, leading by 2-0. Well, Rangers will know that this Champions League group stage, it is a tough group, Group A. Ibrox, they will hope, will give them some sort of sucker, but it's all falling apart here. Ajax streaming forward once again. Mohamed Kudus with an absolute rocket in off the post. And it's all going wrong for Rangers on their return to the Champions League group stages. Ajax 3, Rangers 0.
We couldn't get the bus out, could we? You know, the fact that, you know, they're getting so many chances every time they attack. Rangers don't seem to be doing anything about it. They're being outclassed everywhere. Rangers' best player there is Tavernier generally most weeks. He was shrugged off the ball as if he didn't exist by Kudus. I mean, it's a great finish. Left foot from an angle, lashed into the far corner. But Tavernier's got a good deal of time to get back to him there. Can't get even close to him, not strong enough, not quick enough. 3-0, and at the moment, it's painful for a Scotsman to say it, but they are seriously outclassed at the moment, Rangers. Seriously outclassed.
As you say, it's an outstanding finish from the man who is making his first start of the season for Ajax, Mohamed Kudus, but scored in their last match against Cambuur. Has already surpassed his tally from last season, and he's certainly justifying his manager's faith. But what does the Rangers manager Giovanni van Bronckhorst do here? Ajax leading by 3-0. Rangers win a throw midway through their own half.
Well, I don't
How
know
do
about
they stop this time?
Well, I don't know about Giovanni, and you asked the correct question. What do you do now? Well, you try and stop the flow at some point. Do you change the system? Do you try and go to 5 at the back? Just get numbers back in there, because the gaps are gigantic between the centre-backs and the full-backs just now. So you need to do something else about it. The most common thing to do is go, like, 3 at the back, 2 full-backs or wing-backs, get them to close in a little bit tighter, and just play in the absolute break. I don't know if it'll work. You've got to do something. You've got to do something other than what's happening just now. And I don't know about Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, but I'm already looking at the substitutes that Rangers have got just now to see how he can change it.
10 minutes to go until half-time. Plenty of thinking to do for Van Bronckhorst as Rangers almost give the ball away again, and Lundstrom can't keep hold of it. He's played into trouble. Bergwijn plays it into the penalty area. Tavernier just does enough to get his body in the way, brings it out of the box and clears up towards halfway. It's good play from the Rangers captain. But it's all Ajax once again. The former Rangers man, Calvin Bassey, picks it up. And Edson Alvarez, who got things underway for Ajax, will pick it up just inside his own half. And now Kenneth Taylor on the halfway line, rolls it along to Jurrien Timber. And forwards with a little interchange of passes with Berghuis. But Ajax, the comfort with which they can sit in, they can camp in the Rangers half, they can pick up the tempo, knock it around the penalty area.
Just watching just now, Vicky. On the far right hand side, where Rangers have got a massive problem, there is an out ball on every single time. Ryan Kent's coming much too close to Bassey, trying to close him high up. Now there is a gigantic space over a half a pitch spare on the right hand side. If Ajax can get it over there, they can't allow themselves to be that open, Rangers.
Daley Blind is flagged offside, and Rangers will have a free kick. Rangers, who trail here on 5 Live by 3-0 as Goldson sends it back to McLaughlin, works it out to the left-hand side of the penalty area, and Sands, whose deflection was unlucky for the second goal. But you can't say this is an unlucky scoreline for Rangers, because Ajax, on balance, even though we played just 36 minutes, have been worth the 3 goals. But what can Ryan Kent do here? Ball over the top. He is marshalled away from the penalty area by Wrench, and then the tackle comes in. It will spin out off the boot of Alvarez for a Rangers throw, level with the Ajax penalty area, left-hand side.
You know, I know a few Rangers fans will be listening in just now, and it's painful to listen. And I'm saying, you've got to get back 3 in there, and they're probably shouting at the radio. What do you mean back 3? We've not got another centre-half. They're all injured just now. And that's a very fair point. But maybe you've got to look at your midfield, and be it Lundstrom or be it Kamara, and say, look, you've got to drop in there and do that sort of job. Or maybe get a full-back to drop in as a third centre-back. You need to think along those lines, maybe.
Goldson plays it forwards, but Bassey will get there ahead of Wright and shepherd the ball out for a goal kick. It's Ben Davies back on the bench after injury, but is this the sort of match you want to throw him in for? He's certainly going to get tested. We presume that his fitness condition is allowing him to be on the substitutes bench. But
it's a good question, but oddly enough, it's a strange thing. It's that bit easier if you're a back 3. You know, if you're 2 centre-backs, you're going to be doing a lot of running, you're going to be stretched, etc. If you're a back 3, you get yourself tight, and you know, as long as you can actually move and you're not actually still injured, which you shouldn't be if he's on the bench, that makes a little bit of sense. He'd maybe take a chance and get him on the field.
Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Here on BBC Radio 5 Live. 7 minutes to go until half-time here in Amsterdam, and Ajax knocking the ball around outside their own penalty area. Now play it all the way back to goalkeeper Pasveer, who is closed down by Cholak, who really hasn't had a sniff so far for Rangers. As Ajax come once more down the right-hand side. Lundstrom is back across there, defending for Rangers. Ajax will pick it up and continue to drive. Lundstrom gets a foot in, but Ajax will play it. Look at the space here for Jurrien Timber inside the penalty area, making a run forward from centre half. That's the problem that Rangers have to deal with as they clear the ball out of their penalty area. Just never know who's going to pop up there as Bergwijn has it on the left.
Very much the Ajax way, isn't it? You know, you just go and find out where the weakness is, find out where there's a gap, and just overload it time and again. It doesn't matter if you're full back or your centre back or anyone. Just do it, get into the space. they have got that adaptability.
And they have the ball over on the right-hand side once more. Berghaus is making a dangerous run, but he's strayed offside, so Ajax will keep it over on that far side. Here is Alvarez. Exchanges passes, gets it back on the halfway line. Ajax, who have a 100% record so far in the league this season, the reigning Dutch champions, looking to go deep into the Champions League once more, as they did against Tottenham back in 2019, falling at the semi-final stage. As they come forward once more, leading by 3-0 as the shot is driven in, saved by McLaughlin, will come out to Tadic, who dinks the ball back across, should be cleared by Tavernier, and is, prevents the corner as well. It's out for an Ajax throw, and they are still knocking on the door. The latest, Kenneth Taylor to try his luck. Good save by McLaughlin.
So you know, there's a decent argument. The Rangers are 3-0 down here, and their best player so far has been their goalkeeper. I mean, he's made a number of very, very good saves, and when he's coming through, shots are coming through, a whole bunch of players there. Rangers, to be fair, they're trying really hard to squeeze up when they can. They're trying to be as positive as they can. The thing is, their press is not good enough. You know, because if you're against good technical defenders, if you don't press right, you'll just get passed around, and you've got 4 players out to play. That happened to them just a moment ago, and I know why they're trying to do it, and it's well done them trying to do that. But do you know what? If you try and press high and you get beaten in the press, you're absolutely stuffed.
Tavernier's throw forward is cut out once more by Ajax, and Timber will square it now to Berghaus, who's popped up at centre half. Why not? Ajax 3, Rangers 0 here on 5 Live. Back heel from Alvarez isn't reached by its intended target, and Rangers will come forward. But again, this is what happens as the ball from right goes all the way through to pass Veer. It's nice, pass 1, pass 2, pass 3, but then the ball over the top, when they've got the outlet of Kent that they're aiming for, or right on the right-hand side, Trollope through the middle, it's just that final ball. It's not even that it doesn't just reach them, it's just completely the wrong call or execution.
And the reason for it is very, very simple. They're closing down. So when they're playing that important pass, they've got 2 or 3 players, they're off balance, they've only got seconds to try and play it. So a lot of it, you say, maybe not the best play from Rangers. In actual fact, it's a brilliant play by Ajax. Yeah,
it's been a stellar performance so far for the Dutch champions as they come down the left-hand side once more. Here is Berghaus, lays it off to Daley Blind, and now Bassi, who's decided to join the attack. Taylor, as Ajax send it back to the centre circle, and Alvarez, who is the deepest man apart from goalkeeper Remco Pasveer, out to the left-hand side once more. And Bassi, as Rangers trying to stay in position, trying to stop this getting worse than 3-0 with 2.5 minutes to go until half-time here on 5 Live, as they do get the footing, clear the ball away, but there's no blue shirt anywhere near the Ajax penalty area, and it's an easy task for Remco Pasveer, the 38-year-old, to come out and clear the ball away. So Ajax build down the left-hand side now with Blint. Field to Bergwijn, little 1-2 with Blint. Taylor's ahead of him. Here is Taylor, lovely back heel to find Blint. Squares it in field, and the challenge coming in from Tillman. Allowed to go by our referee, Tobias Styler. Ajax still in possession with Taylor. Plays the ball into the penalty area. Here is Bergwijn. His effort is blocked, and the second shot is beaten away by McLaughlin from Tadic. Out for an Ajax throw.
And it generally ends up most attacks with either a pass that nearly gets through, or a shot that has to be saved by the keeper, or indeed a goal. And going forward, they've been selfless with each other as well. There's good technical players out there, there's good strength, their attitude's been brilliant. They've maybe took the foot off a little bit for the past 5 or 10 minutes, Ajax, but that's not to say it's easy to play against. It's still hard for Rangers to play against.
Here is Alvarez, receives it back from Berghaus. Again, the space is there on the right-hand side. Barisic really coming in. Now he'll have to go out because they have used that outlet on the right. And again, it's just too easy for Ajax as Wrench picks it up on the overlap. Spun back once more to Tadic, and now Timber. Tadic will receive the ball again and plays it out to the right-hand side now. Rangers camped inside their own penalty area, trying to keep it at 3-0 as we approach half-time here on 5 Live, as Timber slides the ball through, looking for Alvarez, plays it out to the right-hand side, and Taylor. Now Berghaus will pick it up on the right. Kamara gets the foot in. Will he prevent the corner? Ajax trying to make sure that he doesn't, and Tadic does well there. It will be a corner to Ajax, and Rangers have to stay switched on here.
You have to, you know, you've only got seconds until we see the board for how many extra minutes are going to be put on. You do not want to go and have a not challenge for another corner and go 4-0 down, so imperative to get this one clear.
Corner swung in from the right-hand side, and McLaughlin comes and gathers at the second attempt. He did well there, McLaughlin. He commanded the situation, took a couple of attempts to grab it, but as we enter 1 minute of added time, his presence was enough, and Rangers can try and build something from the back, trailing by 3-0 here on 5 Live.
Yeah, I know the Rangers fans and Rangers manager will be looking at it thinking, right, okay, what do we do here? Do you try and get back in the game? Because that's the big call. When you're getting well beaten, the 3 goals down, it's half time. And remember, Rangers are not used to this. You know, they get beat 4-0 against Celtic at the weekend, but they're used to dominating games, and it's a hard one to take when you're not used to that sort of thing. But do you try and go and attack it, or do you say, okay, we've actually got 4 attack-minded players out there, maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we should be a little bit cuter, a little bit more sensible, and we'll see if that's what Gio does in the second half.
Well, they're in possession on the halfway line. They've lost it though. Aberdeen away coming up on Saturday, sitting just 3 points behind Rangers. And we have to say as well, you know, it's such early stages in this Champions League group stage as the half-time whistle goes, but it is not the start that Rangers would have wanted on their return to the top table of European football. They trail by 3-0 at half-time, and you have to say it's utterly deserved from the Dutch champions Ajax. Alvarez, Berghuis with a cruel deflection off Sands, and Kudus with the goals. Rangers need to find a way to stem the tide from the home side. At the moment, it's looking like a tall task. Half-time at the Johan Cruyff Arena. Ajax 3, Rangers 0.
Welcome back to the Champions League. Hey, Pat.
Oh, yes. A little bit of a lesson handed out there. I mean, first of all, I love good football, so well done, Ajax. They are a really beautiful team to watch. They play it well, their attitudes are great. It's a good, not just the technical side of it, not just the fact that they have got total football going on there, the fact that they're all working hard for each other. When they lose the ball, they fight and battle, and you know, it's not beneath them to go and tackle and get close, right? But you're playing against that and you're being outclassed. You've got to do something about it. And with Celtic losing 3-0 last night, and you know, 3-0 obviously at half-time for Rangers just now, yeah, it's a hard one to get back in. But you know, Ajax, Real Madrid, they've been in this competition for quite a few years. It may well be that the Scottish teams, and maybe particularly Rangers, have got quite a lot to learn, and we shall see if Van Bronckhorst can do anything in the second half. Look, he's got 3 attack-minded players out there: Kent, Tillman, Wright, with Cholak in front of them. That's brave, bordering on being naive. I think he needs to get a little bit more muscle in there and make sure this doesn't turn into a riot of goals.
So does he have to be pragmatic to make sure that it isn't 5 or 6? And in some ways, it's settling for 3-0.
Thanks very much for getting the word. I was searching for the chappers. Yeah, pragmatic's the word. So yeah, exactly, that's what you got to be. And the chances of, when you've been beaten that well in the first half, you've hardly got a kick. I don't know if it's 75%, something like that, possession against. The chances that have been created, do you really think you're going to come out in the second half and be really open and score 4 goals and change everything? It's kind of so unlikely as to be naive. Now and again, once in a lifetime, we're talking about Spurs before here, these weird things can happen, you know, but it would be, I suspect, more sensible if you get a little bit more sensible defending, hard-working midfielders in that area. Maybe try and get to a back 3 as well, and then play in the break now and again, maybe get the odd corner and then go and attack, that sort of thing. As it is so far, we just haven't had any of that. They've hardly been in the opposition, I was going to say 18-yard line, it's got to say half.
The stats are brutal. I mean,
I've not seen them, but I know.
No, but I've got the only stat that matters is obviously 3-0, but 69% possession for Ajax, 11 goal attempts to Rangers 1, 6 of those on target, 391 total passes compared to Rangers 126, and they've completed 360 of those of Ajax. They've had 71 attacks, 48 of which have been deemed dangerous attacks. I mean,
and they are
they are dominant.
Yeah, they're dominant, but also I think they are a very good team, and that's the thing that's kind of frightening about Ajax, isn't it? You know, they sell players every year that are their top players, and they make a lot of money, and you think, well, that's them gone now, and then they come back with a completely whole set of new ideas and new players, and you know, and they're still great to watch. So you've got to applaud them as, you know, as a football club and as an ethos. We were talking about ethos before this game started. When they have got that and they live by it, and we started in the first minute of this game today, and I said to Vicky, I love sitting watching Ajax because they're so confusing to watch, and you think, right, you're centre back, oh no you're not, you're right wing. Where have you got, what are you doing, where are you? And you're kind of tracking it, but that is total football, that is the way, and it has been really quite educating to watch.
3-0 to Ajax at half-time, second half on the way. The other game in that group, of course, Napoli against Liverpool, and we'll bring that to you at 8 o'clock. The other early game this evening is the other two teams in Tottenham's group, and that is goalless at half-time between Eintracht Frankfurt and Sporting Lisbon. Tottenham play Marseille at 8 o'clock, and we will have plenty of updates from there. Let's go to the US Open tennis. Russell Fuller.
Where Arina Sabalenka, who is the only one of last year's semi-finalists to have survived the first week at the US Open, is back into the last four. She has just beaten Karolina Pliskova of the Czech Republic 6-1, 7-6, 7-4 on the tiebreak. And this after a very difficult start to the year. She considered taking a break from the sport because her serve was proving so destructive. And she also said it was not easy at all being an athlete from Belarus as the war in Ukraine began. She will play world number one Iga Swiatek or Jessica Pegula in the semi-finals. The next match is the quarter-final between Andrei Rublev and Francis Tiafoe of the United States. That's live on Sports Extra. And a word for the wheelchair competition. Defeat through retirement and injury for Gordon Reid in the first round of the wheelchair singles against Martin de la Puente of Spain. He retired after losing the first set 6-2. And Britain's Lucy Schuker has lost 6-2, 6-love to the defending champion Dida de Groot in the women's competition.
Sports Extra, if you want to listen to the tennis, we'll talk Thomas Tuchel's sacking at Chelsea with John Murray after the latest BBC News.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
With the 5 Live News, I'm Sophie Yardley. Liz Truss is continuing to appoint her junior ministers after becoming Prime Minister. She's taken part in her first PMQs, where she confirmed an announcement would be made tomorrow on plans to help people with rising energy bills. It's understood a typical gas and electricity bill could be limited to around £2,500. The Governor of the Bank of England says there's little he can do to stop the UK sliding into recession. Andrew Bailey told MPs that any economic downturn will be caused by Russia's actions and the impact of rising energy prices. Ryan Giggs says he's disappointed that he'll face a retrial on charges of assault and of controlling and coercive behaviour towards his ex-girlfriend. He denies the accusations. Last month, a jury was discharged after failing to reach a verdict. And a single UK ticket holders come forward to claim the £110 million Euro Millions jackpot. It'd make them wealthier than Harry Styles, according to the Sunday Times Rich List.
12 shortlisted albums, but only one can win the coveted Mercury Prize. Sam Fender, Wet Leg, Little Sims and other big names will compete for the prestigious music award.
What an amazing array of music.
Join Six Music live with interviews and the winning album played out in full.
The winner of the Mercury Prize is...
the Mercury Prize 2022. Thursday night from 7 on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport on a Wednesday evening. Ajax 3, Rangers 0. We'll be back with Vicky and Pat shortly. Let's talk to our correspondent, John Murray. He'll be watching Tottenham Marseille this evening, but he's here to talk Thomas Tuchel sacking at Chelsea. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
Well, I mean, it's the same old Chelsea.
It's not a criticism, no, by the way. Well, it's a general. We didn't see that one coming.
In all honesty, Mark, you know, doing this job for as long as we have, when Chelsea sack a manager, it's never completely surprising because that's what they do. And new Chelsea is clearly the same as the old Chelsea, and if you remember the Abramovich years, sackings came along regularly, yet it didn't stem the flow of the trophies. And over the period that Abramovich was there, 19 years, they were the most successful club from these islands. They won more trophies than anyone else, despite, I think it's 13 men, including the couple of interims that were there as well, who held the manager's job over the period of time. The thing about this is that I don't quite get is that Todd Bowley and the new consortium have come in. And as we know now, this is their 100th day in charge since they officially took over. And the statement said that the new owners believe that this is the right time to make this transition. But this decision comes after they've spent, in terms of transfer fees, over £250 million. So this is the biggest transfer summer window that we've ever seen in terms of spending, and Chelsea were the club that spent more money than anyone else, player after player after player, for big sums. And Thomas Tuchel has had 7 matches this season in all competitions to try and meld that all together. And yes, okay, some of the performances weren't good enough. I saw them well beaten at Leeds. They were disappointing at Everton in the first match of the season, even though they won that. And obviously they've lost to Southampton. Were rather fortunate, as we know, against West Ham on Saturday. Lost to Zagreb last night. He's had 7 matches, though, to meld this all together. But I think it is one of the truisms of football that if you are a manager who's been appointed by the previous owners, then you're very often on a sticky wicket.
Lewis Gebrselassie from Chelsea Fan TV. Evening, Lewis.
Yeah, you're right, bro.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It was reported that they'd have made this decision, whatever happened last night against Dinamo Zagreb. So do you think if he'd won 4-0 last night, that he'd have still been sacked?
I can't really tell you at this point because nobody expected to wake up and see this news in general. Like, you could say whether we won or lost, would you have expected Tuchel to be sacked? I don't think anyone would have expected him to be sacked just 7 games into the new season. And that's the most confusing thing for me, because I get there's been a massive overhaul in the backroom staff at Chelsea since Bowley joined, but that happened immediately after he joined. If Tuchel was never really the man for the job, then why would you spend 300 million on his targets? Why would you let him start the season? It would make a lot more sense to just sack him and bring in a new manager, and then we completely start with this new regime. It's just confusing that we've done it now.
They seem to have worked, don't they? Thomas Tuchel and Todd Bowley, who's sort of your interim sporting director as well as owner. They seem to, or what we hear is that they work together on a lot of these players. So some may have been a sporting director's call, some may, but in conjunction with Thomas Tuchel. The last player you signed, I mean, was definitely in conjunction with Thomas Tuchel, because they kept talking about how they worked at Dortmund together. So a penny for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's thoughts today.
I don't know what he's thinking. Like, he literally said when he first joined, he came back to play for Tuchel. He's had 45 minutes and he's already been sacked. So he's probably just as confused as everybody else. I don't think any of the players, any of the fans, anybody expected to be in this situation when we woke up. It makes no sense at all.
Would you say that he's cut a frustrated figure at times, though, Tuchel? I mean, he's look, and by the way, I don't think there's any surprise if he has cut a frustrated figure given his calendar year.
I completely agree on that. Like, we talk about behind the scenes, we've dealt with the club potentially going bankrupt, Roman sanctions, Tuchel's gone through a divorce as well. Also, we are in the middle of a transition. Like, there's meant to be a massive squad overhaul as we try to create the squad that's the most suited to Tuchel's style of play. And we've just sacked him in the middle of all of that. I get the frustrations from him because I always go back to Jurgen Klopp, for example. He needed 3 years to make a team that he thought was capable of contending for the biggest trophies in Europe with Liverpool. And we've sacked Tuchel like a year and a half into that. Klopp had a completely different squad to the one he won the Champions League with. Tuchel would have wanted a completely different squad too. If we didn't want to back Tuchel, we should have just got rid of him. But we decided to do it now, which makes me think it's a decision that was only made recently. In spite of everything else that we might be hearing about how this might have been in the plans for weeks or so, it doesn't make sense, because then why wouldn't you sack them at that point? It all just seems very rushed for me, and I don't really understand it.
John Murray, they're being heavily linked with Graham Potter. And Brighton have had a very, very good start to the season. So if this has been planned for ages, do you think it's irrelevant the start to the season that Brighton have had? Because presumably they'd have been going for Graham Potter anyhow.
Well, this is a huge decision for Graham Potter to have to take. If indeed, and we are reporting that there will be talks and that Graham Potter will speak to Chelsea. Now, that's a huge step up to take charge of a Champions League club from the position that he's been in. He's got a very clear career path to this point. Graham Potter, as we know, working in Sweden, his academic background before that, then getting the job at Swansea, then at Brighton. And I think one of the most significant things about his tenure at Brighton is that he's been there for over 3.5 years. They haven't suddenly got to this position under Graham Potter. Yeah. This is a club working together and all pointing in the right direction, and having a 15th place finish and a 16th place finish and then a 9th place finish last season. That there is patience involved in that. But if Graham Potter wants to reach the very top of the game, then you have to take the step sometime. And I think it will be very, very difficult. Whatever we say about Chelsea and how long they stick with managers, this would be a very difficult one for him to say no to.
Lewis, who do you want?
What, out of Pochettino or Potter?
Well, if it's down to those two, yeah. You could throw someone else in if you want.
I mean, this is all very new to all of us, but I would have gone for Graham Potter as well. I think he's been well overdue a move to a Big Six club. I think he's ready for the move too, and I think it would also help us in terms of going forward, being able to finally break down low blocks that Chelsea have struggled with for years. I think it would be a good move for us, and plus, I also believe he's a sort of manager that doesn't need flashy names or anything. We'd make much more smarter signings, which is more in line of what Bowley would want too. And when you look at it compared to the likes of Pochettino's coming with the history at Tottenham, so I don't believe going straight from an emotional breakup of sorts with Thomas Tuchel, bringing an ex-Tottenham manager into the fold is only going to make things even more toxic. So I'd go for Potter.
Thank you very much, Lewis Gebrselassie from Chelsea Fan TV. John Murray as well, who's at Tottenham Marseille for us this evening. Our second commentary comes from Italy, where it is Napoli against Liverpool. But now let's return to Amsterdam. Will Rangers find this second 45 as punishing as the first? Ajax are 3 goals to the good. Here are Pat Nevin and Vicky Sparks.
Thanks, Mark. Rangers, trailing by 3 goals to 0 as we are underway in the second half, have made 2 changes at half-time. Off go captain Tavernier, and right on come 18-year-old Leon King for his European debut, and Ravi Matonda, who arrived this summer from Schalke, the Wales international. So, Pat Nevin, we were wondering how Rangers would approach this game in the second half, and Giovanni van Bronckhorst has given his answer.
Yeah, he had to make a few changes there, and just looking closely, I suggested a back 5. They're a back 5, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what they've done.
They could not do that, so that makes absolute sense to me. They've brought on Jack, who's going to be a defensive player who's going to help them a little bit as well. So you've got King, Matondo and Jack all on just now, and Jack is a player who will sit in that midfield area and he'll make a couple of tackles, and that's important that you get somebody to make some tackles, because there weren't that many tackles beforehand. And the other player, obviously, I'm trying to look to see who actually came off there. It was Tillman, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tillman's gone as well. So 3 changes for Rangers at the break. Good spot. Jack's sneaking on as well. 2 more changes they can make in this second half. Rangers, you get 5 in the Champions League. But 3 changes at the break, and we will take you through the lineups in a moment. But Rangers in possession, trailing by 3 goals to 0. Ryan Kent coming forward, picking up the ball on that right-hand side. Cholak's made a good run through the centre in a bit of space, but Kent just couldn't release the ball in time. He's trying to win it back off Kenneth Taylor, but can't do so. And Bassi, the former Rangers man, sends it all the way back to Pasveer. So no changes for Ajax at half-time. They have Pasveer in goal, the back 4 of Wrench, Timber, Bassi and Blint. Ahead of them it's Tadic, Alvarez and Taylor, with Berghaus, Bergwijn and Kudus up front. Let's head to our second commentary of the evening and get the team news. Napoli against Liverpool, Ian Dennis.
Thiago is on the bench for Liverpool, as is Arta, but Jurgen Klopp makes 3 changes, and that is Robertson at left-back for Tsimikas, Milner into the midfield for Carvalho, and Firmino starts instead of Nunes. As for Napoli, they make 2 changes. Oliveira and Politano both start.
Thanks, Ian. Commentary from 8 o'clock here on 5 Live as Ryan Jack wins that ball just outside his own penalty area. Matondo will pick it up over on that right-hand side for Rangers. It's forward now from Jack once more. This is much better from Rangers at the start of the second half. Here is Matondo. He's dispossessed by Daley Blind, but that is adjudged to have been a foul in the end by Ajax, and that will be a free kick to Rangers over on the far side.
I think it's almost every single thing I was calling for him to do. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst at half-time, he's done. You need a back 3. You see, maybe one of the centre midfielders, Lundstrom's gone in to that back 3 alongside Golson and Sands. Barisic is the left wing back stroke full back. Leon King will be the right wing back stroke full back, and then that just gives you a little chance to break, get the ball up to Cholak, and then you've got Matondo, and with the pace that he's got, will go and give a little bit of support. So it seems a more sensible, way to set up a team against Ajax, who are playing extremely well.
And that is why Ajax lead by 3-0, but Rangers with this free kick swung into the penalty area. Sands was up there and he did win the header, but it's wide on the edge of the 6-yard box. He was well pressured. But again, this is much better intent from Rangers at the start of the second half.
I see, what we're saying is, if Rangers are physically a strong side, so if you go, even though they've lost a goal from a corner and could have lost the second one, they've got players that can really go and attack it from those areas. Now, that wasn't a corner, it was a free kick, but they almost got a free header at the back post, so that's something they need to try their very best to adapt to. But I mean, looking at it just now, that's a very, very clear 5-3-2 the Rangers are playing just now, and that, and I suspect the players will feel more comfortable with that, because they'll not be ripped apart like they were in the first half. Or they might do, but it'll be harder to do it because there's less space in the back.
Yes, and when they're defending, it drops into this 5-4-1 as well, as Ajax spread it out to the right-hand side, and Tadic, good play, looking for Wrench, who just about keeps it in, but it should be cleared away by Goldson, who plays it out to Barisic. The throw goes the way of Ajax, and Rangers are not happy about that at all. Barisic felt that Tadic played that out of play without getting a nick off the Rangers man. But it is an Ajax throw deep in Rangers territory. Ajax, the Dutch champions, who lead by 3-0 as Berghuis has shot his charge down. So Rangers, yes, with this back 5 now. McLaughlin in goal, the back 5 with Barisic, Sands, Lundstrom, who's dropped back in there, Goldson, and King, the 18-year-old, who's come on at half-time. Ahead of them, you have Kamara and Jack sitting in the centre of midfield, Kent and Matondo on the wings, and Cholak leading the line up front as Ajax come forward once more. Berghuis, loose ball, cleared away, straight into Tadic by Rangers though. Barisic takes charge and plays it all the way back to McLaughlin, who's closed down by Kudus, who scored that absolutely spectacular 3rd goal for Ajax in the first half. Left-hand drive, arrowing across goal, in off the post. It was sublime, and Ajax are coming forward once more again. Rangers winning the ball just on the edge of their own penalty area. Bergwijn sliding, will keep it in. Big roars for the man in form, who hasn't got on the score sheet himself this evening, but certainly he's playing his part, the former Tottenham man, as Ajax pick up possession midway through the Rangers half. Out to the right-hand side now, and Wrench, Berghuis exchanging passes, and Berghuis was fouled there by James Sands, and it will be a free kick to Ajax midway through the Rangers half. Right-hand side, 3-0, the Dutch side still lead.
I think Sands actually will be quite pleased with that. It's a very, very tough, strong tackle that he's put in there. He's not going to get a yellow card for it, but it's almost a, put on a calling card to say, right, we're not going to be a walkover in this second half. You're going to have to work to get through us this time. Didn't have to work too hard the first half.
Ajax have the ball over on the left-hand side. A yellow card just floated down from the stands there. Is that thrown by a fan? Is that how you express that you should see an opponent booked in this match? I don't think the referee saw it. Tobias Styler won't have done much good if he did, I'm sure. It was just the free kick for Ajax, and they've sent it all the way back to their goalkeeper, Remco Pasveer, leading by 3-0.
It's noticeably not as easy, is it, for Ajax just now? We're zipping through that Rangers line. There was big gaps. And now they're trying to play those passes through that back line and through that deeper midfield, with Jack sitting there really quite deep alongside Kamara. and they're running into traffic a little bit more. It's still going to be tough for Rangers, and you suspect they're not going to get a lot of ball up in the other half. But he couldn't leave it that easy for Ajax for another half of football.
Jack wins the ball midway through the Rangers half. Kamara gets a foot on it, but it's all the way through to Bassi on the halfway line. Ajax 3, Rangers 0 here on 5 Live. Is it something he could have changed in the first half, Pat, or is actually a formation change something that you want to do at half-time just to make sure that everybody knows exactly where they should be? Because they are putting square pegs in round holes at the moment because of the injured centre-halves that they have out.
I think that is the most important question that you could possibly ask about the entire evening. After 10-15 minutes it was clear, you know, and the top managers, you know, the ones that have been there for a long time, the Mourinhos and all that, they'll do it. And if it means pulling one of your players up after 20 minutes, they'll do it, because the team is much more important. Van Bronckhorst stuck with it there, but I agree with you, far too long. 45 minutes was too long. Hey, if I can see it, surely everyone else could see it there, that they were in serious trouble with the way they were playing and the personnel that was on the field. Whereas now, it looks a little bit better anyway.
Ajax are driving forward though again, but again they run into that blue wall of shirts. Out to the left-hand side come Rangers. Ryan Kent in possession. Little tug back there from Tadic. Referee lets it go. And now here is Jack in field to Kent. Back now to Barisic, but Rangers, it just looks so much better. There is so much more composure. Ajax are having to work harder because easy was the way to sum up that first half for Ajax, and that's why they lead 3-0 as Rangers have it on halfway.
A piece of cake, and I wouldn't be surprised if the manager maybe puts his hands up after the game and say, look, tactically I got that wrong. He's come back to Ajax, he's come back to Holland, and he wants the Netherlands, and he wants to show people, look, I've got a good team here. I want to play wide open football. I want to play a wee bit of total football myself. They've not got what it takes to do that, and well done him. And thanks Chappers, they've got their pragmatism back they needed.
And well done to Ryan Kent there, winning a free kick for Rangers. Third of the way inside the Ajax half. Still trailing Rangers by 3-0, but as you say, Pat, of course, Van Bronckhorst, such a Dutch legend, the former Netherlands captain, and certainly not appreciated for his club exploits here, though. The former Feyenoord player and manager, huge rivals, of course, of Ajax. So again, so many emotions swirling around the very calm Dutchman, as he usually is, although you have to say he wasn't calm at full time against PSV Eindhoven, was he? And Rangers came through the Champions League playoffs to reach this group stage for the first time in 12 years. 3-0 they trail. Free kick though swung into the penalty area, headed on, and it's easy for Pasveer, and the referee spotted an infringement anyway, so it will be a free kick to Ajax inside their own area. And Edson Alvarez there, it's right on the edge of the penalty area. He's just been ushered inside the box, back inside the box by the referee. He's not happy, he's gone down, he's rubbing the right-hand side of his neck. And that was interesting there to see the referee almost like a teammate just calming Alvarez down there, because he's claiming that he perhaps could have had a penalty. Goldson certainly, on watching the replay, Pat, he's got his arms all over him.
Yeah, I'm not giving Alvarez any sympathy there, I'm sorry. I think he started it. So he starts it, and then he moans when someone actually gives a little bit of drive back to him and pretends he's cricked his neck really badly. I'm not giving him that. I'm harsh, aren't I?
Well, I think I can certainly see your perspective. Alvarez, who got things underway for Ajax in this Champions League Group A match, and Ajax in possession now.
You have to say, I was on Radio 5 Live the other morning, and I think in my opinion saying that if any player pretends to have a head injury and it's proved that it hasn't, he should be sent off and have a 3-match ban. So I can't really stop saying that when I'm doing the commentary.
Neck injury count in that? Part extension of the head?
To be fair, he didn't roll about.
No, he didn't.
What I hate is when a player pretends to be a head injury and you go and see it in the replay and he's not been touched. I mean, I think that's dangerous. Not only offensive, but also dangerous as well. It wasn't quite that bad. I'll give him that.
Rangers with the ball back inside their own penalty area. Over on the right-hand side, now play back into McLaughlin. All in orange this evening. And out to Barisic now on the left-hand side. Cleared forward by Sands. Out of play. And Ajax just showing a hint of that press that they employed so well in the first half that has led to this 3-goal advantage for the Dutch side.
It's not quite as easy though, is it? Because Rangers have got those 5 players to play with. They played to McLaughlin as well there, who, let's be fair, there's a few Rangers supporters whose hearts are in their mouths at that point in time after what happened against Celtic at the weekend, but he actually was very, very calm in the ball there.
Lovely ball from Alvarez out to the left-hand side, defending here for Rangers to do as the ball is played into Kudus on the edge of the area, and now Berghuis looks it back to Daley Blind midway through the Rangers half, and now out to the left-hand side once more to Taylor. Ajax 3, Rangers 0 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. 12 minutes gone in this second half in the Champions League. Timber now in the centre circle, squares it to Bassi, the former Rangers man, and now Daley Blind once more out to the left-hand side, and Taylor, well marshalled though, this back 5 of Rangers that they've switched to in the second half is just managing to stop the fluidity of the Ajax attacks, although they're always threatening when they get near the penalty area, the movement, the combinations, as Rangers had a free kick there. Barisic going down, nothing doing, but Sands has cleared the ball away anyway, got a little nick on the way through. Kamara will pick it up and help it on. Ajax pick it up once more though. Here is Timber, right-hand side, leading by 3-0 on 5 Live. Remember, you can watch with the final score graphics and video printer this evening. Just go to the BBC iPlayer or the BBC Sport app and click on 5 Live final score. We, of course, will keep you right up to date with Tottenham's match against Marseille, along with our commentary of Napoli against Liverpool, second match in Rangers group tonight, starting at 8 o'clock with Ian Dennis and Jonathan Woodgate, as Ajax fans rather than players appeal for a free kick outside the Rangers penalty area. Not given. Lundstrom charging out of defence, plays it forward, one back by Ajax, and the ball will be played back to Alvarez, who often, as the defensive midfielder, will sit deep as the deepest output player for Ajax and just dictate the tempo once again, start those passing moves, which Berghuis is now continuing.
Again, we're talking at half-time, and what the Rangers do? Did they just try and soak up a little bit of pressure, defend a lot more, bring on the players we suggested they do and play in this system, and just accept a 3-0 defeat, and you might sneak one back, and it's a kind of almost a you never know kind of attitude. That's exactly what they've done, and it's against a lot of what people think and what I feel we should do when you play football. But actually it's naivety if you don't do that. And to be honest, those players in blue, they're enjoying themselves a lot more just now, because they can actually pass it to each other now and again, whereas in the first half they couldn't even get 2 or 3 passes strung together.
Here come Ajax though, down the left-hand side, ball into the area, cleared away by Sands. Barisic was right there as well, and they're looking at each other there, the 2 of them, now just moving away. Sands did his job, it's out for the corner, but you don't want to see those hints of potential confusion there in the Rangers defence, particularly not when they've got another set piece to
Barisic can see
defend.
it all, he's got to call loud enough, but then again, it's quite a noisy crowd behind him now.
That is true. Packed stands here in the Johan Cruyff Arena as Ajax take the corner short. Here is Taylor, swings it in low, it's a poor delivery, it's headed away by Rangers. Tadic though, the Ajax captain, will win it back, he slips, Kamara gets a foot in, and Rangers should be able to play their way out of trouble as Ryan Jack does very well under pressure. Matondo's lost it though, and Ajax come forward down the right hand side. Here is Tadic. Matondo trying to get back, has to be careful that he doesn't foul Tadic. He doesn't. Lovely back heel by Berghuis. Tadic now, right hand side of the penalty area, lifts the ball in, nobody's there for Ajax, and it's kneed back by John Lundstrom. Looked as though it might be going out for a corner, but McLaughlin raced across and prevented the set piece, and Lundstrom will play the ball out. He's got lucky there, he played it straight into Kenneth Taylor, but the ball came back to Lundstrom, and he can set Kamara away over the halfway line. Ajax 3, Rangers 0 here on 5 Live. 61 minutes played in this Group A Champions League match. As Ajax have a player down, it's Tadic tangling with Ryan Jack, who has certainly made a difference since coming on, but he is the first player to go into the book this evening.
I don't think he's going to complain too much about that one. It's a straight leg tackle. I think it's just at the last millisecond he's trying to take himself out, so he's not trying to injure the player. But when you go to ground like that and your 2 feet are kind of almost in the air, referees are going to give a yellow card there every single time. So, but it's good. It's still good for Rangers. There's a real comfort about the team just now. They're not getting many attacks up front. Ajax don't actually have to push it, do they? And they're not really pushing it now. It's almost as if they're seeing out this game saying, right, okay, we might get the odd chance. But all those things that were happening in the first half, like particularly the overlap they were getting on the right-hand side, now that you've got an extra player in that defence, it's just much, much harder to do it. They've got through once. You're talking 17 minutes into the second half. It looks like a different game of football, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's where you're spot on, Pat, as Bassi brings it away for Ajax midway through his own half. There's no point for Rangers. Yeah. There's no point to playing with the system and the way that they did in the first half and conceding another 3 goals. Yes, you want to stick to your principles. Yes, Van Bronckhorst talked in the pre-match press conference about giving the players confidence and trust after the old firm Derby defeat, but that doesn't mean in any sense that you can't change your tactics, and that's what he's done as Ajax come forward once more. They're having to work harder in this second half because of that change made by Rangers at half-time. This is how play back on the penalty area. Tadic takes it off his teammate Kudos, now plays it out to the right-hand side. Berghaus plays the ball in, it's cleared away at the back by Leon King for Rangers and picked up once more by Bassi, the former Rangers man. Lovely ball out to the left-hand side from Timber. King did well to get a touch on it. The 18-year-old, it's out for an Ajax throw.
Really good play there by Ajax on the right-hand side again. Nice little 1-2s, tricks, skills, drag backs, etc. But when the ball comes into the blue shirts there, and the blue shirts are getting it away, and that's what they have to keep on doing. And this is, again, we talked about concentration early in the game when Rangers didn't have it for long periods. We've seen that much better just now. But as they get tired, you need to keep that going. You don't want to lose another goal because they lost 4 in the weekend. 3's bad. You don't want to be any more than that.
Very good play again there by Leon King, the 18-year-old, just stepping up out of defence, clearing the ball up towards halfway. Scotland internationals come through, youth international I should say, come through the Rangers Academy. This is career European debut, and he will hope for many more special nights on this stage with his boyhood club. Rangers back in the Champions League group stage for the first time in 12 years, trailing by 3-0, but this is a much better performance in the second half as Ajax come forward once again with Bergwijn. He's stopped by Matondo outside the penalty area. Here is Kenneth Taylor, plays it out to the left-hand side, and the former Manchester United man Daley Blind, and now Bassi square to Timber as Rangers drop deep in that back 5. Berghaus keeps going. Kudos, oh, lovely skill, brilliant footwork. Kudos, this would be fantastic. Sliding challenge just puts him off from Barisic, and that is outstanding defending from the Rangers man, matching some outstanding footwork from Mohamed Kudos. Ajax have it on the left-hand side.
That would have been one of the great European goals, wouldn't it have? Just for a moment there, that was going to, you looked as if it was going to be a goal that Messi would have been proud of. That's the type of dribble he had. Right, actually, I'd put it further than that. I say it was a Maradona type piece of play through the middle there, but he couldn't quite get the last finish in there. But beautiful football.
Gorgeous skill from a man that Everton were interested in signing this summer, but Ajax, as the transfer window wound to its finish, just could not afford to lose any more players. That's why Edson Alvarez is still here after that very strong interest from Chelsea. It's Ajax who lead Rangers by 3-0, and here is Bergwijn, plays it into the area. Kudos, first time shot, goes behind for a corner. Quickly to Spurs, the team news against Marseille. John Murray.
Yes, one change from the weekend for Spurs' return to the Champions League. The Champions League winner Perisic is in for Sessegnon. Lots of familiar faces in the Marseille team, including Nuno Tavares, who's on loan there from Arsenal. Guendouzi's in there as well, former Arsenal man, and Eric Bailly on loan from Manchester United. The former West Ham man Dimitri Payet is back from injury among the Marseille subs.
Thanks, John. Updates from Tottenham against Marseille to come with John in our commentary of Napoli against Liverpool. As Rangers played around at the back, they managed to deal with the corner just about. I say deal with it. Ajax took it short, played it in. Again, Rangers weren't switched on, and Alvarez headed over when really he could have made it 4-0. So a let-off as Rangers come down the other end. Kent is in there. Oh, that's just past the angle of post and bar. What a nervy moment for Pasveer, the Ajax keeper, who was stretching. And that is as close as Rangers have come.
Yeah, really, really good play. I didn't know Kent actually got a touch on it. I thought it was a corner kick. However, down the right-hand side, they've looked much, much better since those changes. Matondo, actually, give him his due. He's defended back when he's had to. He's done the entire side there, helped you full-back, stroke wing-back, but also he'll get up there wide when he gets a chance as well. So he's made the best chance so far that Rangers have had in this game.
Game just becoming a little more open in the last couple of minutes. Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Berghaus into the penalty area. Great save by the boot of McLaughlin. Berghaus took the shot quickly, and McLaughlin stuck out a big boot and made the stop. Play has stopped now. It will be...
Tells me a call for offside.
For Rangers, yes.
Yeah, it's called it for offside, and he's right to call it for offside. But that was much better play for Ajax, and maybe Rangers will say, well, wait a minute, we're playing for offside there, but it was very, very tight. Really nice play there, and it was a great save once again by McLaughlin. So it is the strangest, oddest thing to say. A goalkeeper has let 3 goals in the first half, and you're thinking, he's had a good game, and he certainly has had a good game so far.
And he's preparing to take this set piece now inside his own penalty area for Rangers, who still trail Ajax by 3-0 midway through the second half. Cholak wins the ball on the halfway line. He's had a quiet night, Cholak, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, it's hard to play well when you don't get a kick of the ball because the ball's not up your part of the field. And it's one of those ones. I've watched him a few times when he's had, you know, very, very quiet games, and he's not getting any good service. Then he gets a chance or two and scores. So he's one of those strikers. He's perfectly capable of doing that. You put the ball in the box and he's there. He's as likely to score as any other player in this field.
Good work by Ajax down the left-hand side, looking to add to their 3-goal advantage. Here is Kenneth Taylor. Bergwijn trying to latch onto it. The shot is driven in, and it's straight at McLaughlin, who pats the ball down inside his own penalty area. And will prepare to launch this downfield. Sporting Lisbon have taken the lead at Eintracht Frankfurt in Tottenham's group. Updates of Tottenham's match against Marseille coming up on 5 Live this evening. Commentary from 8 o'clock is of Napoli against Liverpool, the other match in Rangers' group. Rangers, who on their return to the European top table proper, are trailing in Amsterdam by 3-0.
Yeah, but they can stand a wee bit proud for the second half. I mean, real nice attitude for the players as well. I mean, the heads haven't gone down now. They looked a little bit, no, they looked very much in danger going down at the end of that first half, but second half they come out, right attitude, they chased and fought and battled, tried to get on the ball as well, trying to play it for the back. So it's, you know, as a back five, you know, they have, as you correctly say, when they're defending, it's a 5 and a 4 in front of it and 1 up front. But when they played out for the back, yeah, they're trying to get up there. They're actually trying to make a bit of a game of it. So much better. And I think with the thing we're all thinking now, and I've no doubt Giovanni Van Bronckhorst thinking it, and even though he won't maybe admit it, I bet he wishes they started off with this system. And if you had to change it later on, you could.
Here comes Ryan Kent down the left-hand side for Rangers, who trail by 3-0. Couple of step-overs from Kent. Nice play on the edge of the area. Trying to poke it back to Barisic, who does reach it. Barisic, curler. Oh, what a goal! What a fabulous goal from Borna Barisic. He's not netted since February 2021. But my word, that was a stunner. And after 12 years, Rangers have a goal in the Champions League group stage on their return to Europe's premier competition. It's Ajax 3, Rangers 1.
That is a stunner, and it's exactly the same goal as the one in the first half by Kudus, isn't it? And there's a good argument to which is a better goal. 2 absolute crackers. Now, here's a question. Will Ajax be brave enough? Will they still be able to play their football the way they want to? We've not started the game yet. They're obviously checking out to see if there was any suggestion of offside there.
Well, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will be thinking, please no. And I think all purists will be thinking, please no, because it's another one of those. Yes, we know why VAR's here. Yes, they look at it. They are checking the goal. It's come up now, but it's such a gorgeous shot, isn't it?
But it did cross my mind when it was played out. Wait a minute, got a lot of space there. Put to the right-hand side when it went down to Kent, I think it was in the first place. So it was pretty tight. Well, it must have been quite tight because they're spending a lot of time looking at it.
Well, they have these semi-automated offsides now in the Champions League where they use a lot of algorithms, they use a lot of cameras. Oh, it's offside. It's offside. The referee, Tobias Steiler, has made the television signal. He's pointed, and the algorithms, the cameras, the human video assistant referee as well, as we see. And Pat, it is clear, Kent coming back from an offside position. What a shame for Rangers. What a shame for Borna Barisic, because that is one of the best goals he'll ever score.
Yeah, it didn't celebrate after it either. By the way, all this technology, and it'd take 5 minutes. Show me a still of that and I'll tell you it's 2 yards offside. It's miles off when it came to him. There's not even an argument about it.
Yeah, the angles weren't really needed as Ajax come down the left-hand side. Good footing by Leon King. He's done well since coming on, the 18-year-old.
He has, but he gets a little bit of help because he's not been isolated out there. He's got a player, Matonda's coming back, helping him. The right centre-back, Sands, is coming out sometimes. It's Lundstrom actually who's fitted back into that right centre-back role. So he's got a little bit of help around him. But he's not left it at all. He's playing against a very, very good player out there. And he hasn't looked as if he's been spooked at all. So well done him against Bergwijn out there on the left-hand side.
Ajax in possession, still leading by 3-0 after that Barisic goal. It was chalked off for offside. Sporting Lisbon are now 2-0 up at Eintracht Frankfurt. Rangers fans might have a wry smile at that after losing in such agonising fashion to Eintracht on penalties in the Europa League final last season, as Tadic brings the ball back on the right-hand side. Ajax in possession, Ajax in control, but a control that was momentarily shaken, and would have been interesting, as you say, Pat, to see how the Dutch champions would have responded had Rangers got that goal back. And we know how many times Rangers did the seemingly impossible last season.
Well, you need to get brilliant, and you also need to get lucky, and they got brilliant there, but just not quite lucky enough. But it would have been intriguing because 3-1, they're not giving up that many chances now, Rangers. There's been 1 or 2 in the second half, but it's not really been like that at all. So Rangers just battle on and maybe get a corner or a free kick and attack it, but they needed that goal. You feel they really needed that goal to stand.
Ajax in possession with Timber. They've needed this second half performance though, haven't they? Even if it stays at 3-0, given what happened against Celtic on Saturday, given how they were carved apart in the first half, the Old Firm derby defeat, a heavy defeat here, had the performance not shifted in the second half, that's damaging beyond just losing in the Champions League, isn't it?
Because you start looking around at your teammates and you worry if they're good enough. You worry if you're good enough. You think, well, why did the manager go with that tactic there? Because we were absolutely shredded. So if it does finish like that, it's a really worrying, concerning time. However, he has changed it. And by the time the second, third, fourth games coming in this Champions League group stage, Rangers won't be as naive. They won't do that. With any luck, they'll have opportunities to play Morelos. He'll be back, a little bit stronger. 1 or 2 centre-backs might come back from injury as well. That might make a difference as well. But at the moment, they're back in the game. They don't look out of place here. To be fair, they look pretty close to being out of place in that first half.
But as Pat says, not anymore. Credit to Van Bronckhorst for changing the system. But it is still Ajax 3, Rangers 0. And I actually have to say as well, I think because they are finding it more difficult against Rangers, they have taken their foot off the gas in this second half too, as they have it over on the left-hand side.
Well, why should they go and hurt themselves? I mean, keep the ball, and 1 or 2 chances might come. If they go and attack Rangers and try and play that 100-mile-an-hour stuff, again, they'll get broken on against a system that's actually set up to do that. So, no, it's actually not up to Ajax to go and play at the high tempo now. It's up to Ajax to say, OK, we've got the 3 points. Do you want to do anything about it?
So Rangers with the throw, trailing by 3-0. Napoli against Liverpool. Commentary coming up at 8 o'clock with Ian Dennis and Jonathan Woodgate. Updates from Tottenham against Marseille as well. And a reminder that you can listen to all the reaction from this night of Champions League action on the Football Daily. Just search for it on BBC Sounds and download or via your favourite podcast app. Here is Alvarez, who got things underway for Ajax in the first half. Now squares it to Bassi, and again Ajax, very patient. Ajax as well, who you have to say, that the way that they played in the first half, yes, the setup from Rangers partially allowed them to do that, but this is a side that, as we touched on earlier, Pat, lost so many players. It's the theme, isn't it, at Ajax? They know that's how it works. But it is a side that Alfred Schroeder, of course, their new manager as well, with Ten Hag off to Manchester United as the flag goes up for offside against Ajax, free kick to Rangers. They've got a new manager, they've got new players, they've lost the likes of Anthony, Lisandro Martinez, Nusay Mazzouri as well, off to Bayern Munich, Sebastian Haller, Ryan Gravenberch. These are big players. And they have made changes. They brought in the likes of Bergwijn, who's been outstanding, and we've seen again, they've just been able to take that Ajax DNA and show it's off to perfection, really, in the first half.
It sounds easy to do, you know, you're right, DNA, deep history, all that sort of stuff which exists within this club. Some of the players haven't come from this club, they've been brought to the club, and you've got to learn that. But certainly, they've changed seamlessly. They do look very comfortable about it. And part of it is when you make acquisitions, bring in people that can fit in with that concept, with that ethos, with that attitude. They've done that. That's why they got Bassi. That's why they went out on a limb and spent a lot of money for somebody as a centre-back, because they needed somebody who was a good defender, quick, but also a good football player. And they've got that in him, and they're willing to spend the money. And you look at Bassi now, I absolutely promise you, somebody will buy him off them for more than 30 million. A lot more than... And you look at the current players that are going for 50 million, he's an absolute steal.
Rangers have made their fourth change of the evening. The veteran Stephen Davis is on for Glenn Kamara, and Ajax are in possession. Alvarez sends it out to the left-hand side. It's cleared away by Rangers, up to Matondo. Leon King, again, very calmly done by the 18-year-old. Nice little interchange. Ryan Jack then just plays it behind Matondo, and the ball goes out of play. Well, it will be a throw to Rangers. Might have got a nick off Daley Blint on the way through. It's a little fortunate there for Rangers, but they'll take it. But they still trail by 3-0, and the triple Ajax substitution is being prepared here. David Klaassen, the former Everton man, one of those coming on. Lucas Campos as well, their replacement for Anthony after his move to Manchester United, and Yuri Bus preparing to take the field as Rangers spread the ball out to the right-hand side. It's trailing by 3-0 here on 5 Live. Napoli against Liverpool commentary coming up at 8 o'clock for you. Updates from Tottenham, Marseille as well.
You just wonder, you know, Rangers will oddly get a little bit of a lift from this second half, but it will only be a little bit. Oh, they made a mistake.
And Bergwijn could be in here for the fourth. Bergwijn for the fourth. It's simple, it's easy. In the end, for Ajax's top scorer and for all Rangers' improvements in this second half, the former Tottenham man puts a gloss on this victory. It is to be disappointment for Rangers on their return to the European elite. It's Ajax 4, Rangers 0.
And that one has nothing got to do with anything other than just a grotesque mistake. You know, it's not bad tactics, it's not bad anything. And just like I think it was the first goal that Rangers gave away against Celtic, you know, and the goalkeeper just basically passes it into an opposition player. That's an absolute gift. To give the ball to Bergwijn there, and he's got so much space to go around the goalkeeper, and it's unfair on them. So it's poor play from Rangers there. They've got to do a little bit better than that. Feel a little bit sorry for McLaughlin in goal there. He did a good second half. He almost had a second half clean sheet, but that was an awful mistake. And we talked about concentration. We lost it again.
And Ryan Jack is being consoled by his Rangers teammates. He really had made a positive impact since coming on at half-time, but it's his mistake. And the concern here for Ajax, despite that fourth goal going in, is that Bergwijn pulled up afterwards. They will hope it's cramp rather than anything else.
It's a stick on his cramp.
Yeah.
It's an absolute stick on, just the way he's doing it. I mean, you never know. I mean, he could have pulled some sort of muscle of that. But it looked like cramp the way he was being, you know, asking to be, you know, his legs to be pulled up in that certain way. What's a bad cramp though? He's hobbling. He'll not be back on.
Yeah, well, he certainly stretched it out in that sort of fashion as Ajax prepared to make their triple substitution. Let's see if they take Bergwijn off. So, Yuri Bas, one of those to come on. He's replacing Daley Blint. Now, I wonder if Alfred Schroeder is just waiting here to see if Steven Bergwijn is going to be okay. I mean, there's no point. There's no point in risking him. No point.
Absolute madness.
Yeah, there we go. He is off. Whether that change was going to be made anyway. Big cheers for the man who has just put Ajax 4-0 up. He is replaced by Lucas Campos. And Steven Berghuis off as well for David Klaassen. So Lucas Campos, the Argentina international, remarkable story this as Rangers get us underway. He's on loan from Sevilla. They brought him in to replace Anthony. Initially, Ajax decided to sign him, so he got on a plane to Amsterdam. While he was in the air, they decided, oh, actually, we don't want to pay the fee. So he landed, turned round, flew all the way back to Seville, and then they said, oh, actually, we do want to sign you, but just on loan, with an option to buy. So, welcome to Ajax, Lucas Ocampos. He's on the pitch.
I think his agent may have a few words to say about that. Oh, well. He got the frequent flyer points, so give him that. That's one positive out of it.
I'm sure that'll make up for it. It's not the longest between Amsterdam and Seville.
Do you know, I'm impressed with him though, because he's not going in a big huff about it. He just said, no, there must be reasons for it. There'll be a financial thing involved in it as well. They want to check him out. But he's turning up here, and he's turning up to play for what is a very, very good team. And if you walk out here and there's 3,000 people and they're loving it and they're playing football that's generally a joy to watch, you'd want to be part of it, wouldn't you?
Here he is on the ball, plays it back to Kudus. I think that's the thing, that's what happens when things happen late on in the transfer window. You go, oh gosh, we've got to get somebody in. We've lost Anthony to Manchester United, and seems as though a deal was agreed, and then suddenly you think, oh, is that really what we want to pay? But they've got him. He is the replacement for Anthony, and if he does well enough, they have the option to eventually, belatedly, make that deal permanent, as Rangers in possession with Barisic just outside their own penalty area, trailing by 4 goals to 0. It's been much improved in this second half, but some of the stuff Ajax have played has been scintillating, as Bassi into the penalty area, little ricochet, half a shout for handball from the fans, not given. Tadic will play it back. Now it's all the way back in the centre circle with Alvarez.
Looking a wee bit carried away. Bassi's decided to be the left winger for a moment now. He would love to have scored there. So many picked up the ball, kind of left midfield sort of area. He just hammered forward. He was desperate to get in a position to have a shot on target. Didn't manage it, but it's lifted them. They got that extra goal, out of absolutely nothing. It's made it 4, and I mean, when you come to this stage, there's 7 minutes left or so, it's 4-0. There's such a psychological difference between 4 and 5. You're soundly beaten at 4. 5's a hammering. And footballers know that, and they absolutely hate it.
Ajax in possession, and having seen that goal ruled out for Rangers at 3-0, the stunner from Borna Barisic, and then to get the 4th, you get the sense now that if there is a team that are to find the back of the nets again, it will be Ajax. As you say, Pat, the Johan Cruyff Arena is just lifted once more. First visit here for me, and you can tell why it's called the Johan Cruyff Arena. Everywhere you go inside the stadium, there are statues, there are busts, there are pictures, and rightly so for such an Ajax legend. Here come Ajax once more down the right-hand side. Rensch had his shirt pulled there, referee plays advantage. Here is Ocampos, right-hand side of the penalty area. Rensch has continued his run. Ocampos rather dallies with the blue shirts in front of him, still going. Plays it back to Kudus. Now Alvarez. Ajax 4, Rangers 0 here on 5 Live. Napoli against Liverpool coming up after this, with updates from Tottenham against Marseille, as the ball is all the way back with the Ajax number 1, Remco Pasveer.
The other thing that goal does, it slightly changes the narrative. When we go downstairs and we're talking to the Rangers players and the Rangers manager Giovanni van Bronckhorst afterwards, had they kept it at 3-0, you can really push that a little bit and say, yeah, okay, got it a little bit wrong in the first half. Technically, we're good in the second half. We didn't give much off, made the odd chance ourselves. You can really build it up. You lose that goal, and suddenly you lose a little bit of the momentum to be able to say that. But don't forget, they did have a good period there for 25-30 minutes, Rangers.
Here come Ajax once more. Ball into Ocampos, who shot it straight at McLaughlin on the angle.
Rangers players turning around to the assistant referee. It's the most natural thing to do, say, where's the offside flag? There's no point, lads. Technically, if it's offside and it goes in the goal, you're going to get your offside. The technology will help you there.
Dangerous ball there across the penalty area. McLaughlin did really well to steer it away from the on-rushing red and white shirts. Goodness me, those are the sort of moments that they just need to cut out, Rangers. Yes, the game's gone. Yes, they're losing 4-0, but there's been so much more positives than negatives about this performance in the second half, bar the error for the goal and bar errors like that. They just need to cut them out.
Well, the difficulty is, so 86 minutes gone, you're basically chasing shadows for most of the night. You may do the same amount of miles, but see when you're doing the miles and you're on the ball, it's so much easier. And you can tell that there's a wee bit of mental fatigue as well as, you know, physical fatigue growing into that group just now. So they need to get themselves back. It's imperative that all the centre backs, they start talking to each other and say, look, get together again. Don't let it get spreaded. They are just getting a little bit too wide. That didn't happen for that period of time. And that's when you need a good captain on the pitch, and, you know, whoever it is, be it Sands and Barisic, whatever, just get everyone together close and tight in that back line.
Into the final 2.5 minutes plus added time here at the Johan Cruyff Arena as the flag stays down for now and then goes up. Clear offside there against Davy Klaassen, and Ajax preparing to make their final 2 changes. And the man who got things underway, Edson Alvarez, is one of those being replaced by his very good friend, the fellow Mexican international Jorge Sanchez, who's arrived this summer from Club America. And Brian Brobby will be the second player to come on. The 20-year-old rejoined this summer after spending half a season on loan as well. Very brief spell he had at Leipzig. He left Ajax for them in 2021. 6 months there, didn't work out, came back to Ajax on loan and then signed for them permanently in the summer. So he is preparing to enter the field, and
well, he's trying to go on. They're not letting him on just now.
Fourth official's just checking with Alfred Schroeder, the Ajax manager, exactly who he wants to take off. So making sure that they have the right red number on the board, and it will be Mohamed Kudus, who's had a very good game. His first start of the season, scoring the best goal of the night. Drive from the left-hand side across goal, in off the post, and the Ajax fans showing their appreciation.
Yeah, and if you're a centre forward like Robbie coming on, you would have hoped to get a little bit more. He's watching a team, Rangers, there that have given it a few chances, far fewer in this second half, but he's only going to get a little sniff, isn't he? Only a minute or so left, with maybe 3 or 4 minutes added after that. But, you know, second half, they've shown that they're a class side, Ajax, and the suspicion is they'll probably get out of this group. And I just wonder how far they're capable of going this year.
Goldson plays the ball forward for Rangers, who trail by 4-0 into the final minute of normal time. Tondo will pick it up on the right-hand side. Here is Kent, forced out of the penalty area. Matondo once more, ball cut backwards, well read by Davy Klaassen. And the half chance for Rangers, the half opening, is snuffed out ruthlessly by the Dutch champion. Sierra Campos on the edge of the centre circle, exchanges passes, and Ajax work it out to the right-hand side. Now, I was going to ask you, Pat, given that Liverpool in this group as well, what have we learned about Ajax's contenders?
Right, well, technically a very good side. If you give them space, they will damage you. I don't think any of the other teams in this group are going to give them anywhere near that sort of space, home or away. But they've got real confidence and real belief in their team, and they've got lots and lots of skill. They'll get a few good results in this. They've got a chance of getting through. They'll be disappointed if they ended up getting third, but we shall see. Looking forward to the games between them and Napoli. They'll be very, very tight games.
Into the final 3 minutes here, 3 minutes of added time. Ajax 4, Rangers 0, as the Johan Cruyff Arena begins to bounce as Ajax come forward once more. Here is the substitute, Sanchez, plays it out to the left-hand side, just a little loose there for Taylor, but he does pick it up for Ajax, who have it once more. But they've enjoyed what they've seen tonight. Red and white shirts, the red and white flags waving around us as they look for this 5th goal. Ball into the penalty area, McLaughlin clears away. And a word on McLaughlin, Pat, because, you know, there were questions about whether Van Bronckhorst would bring in McGregor. I think the press conference put paid to that, but he's made some big saves.
Yeah, he has. I don't think he's done anything really wrong tonight. Under a huge amount of pressure, Rangers finally getting another break up the field. How they would love to get a consolation goal back now, but yeah. And I'm really happy for him, because he made the odd mistake under pressure, and it wasn't even a particularly important one. Celtic were home and dry by that point. Another terrible mistake tonight, but it wasn't his.
Ball into the penalty area for Rangers, headed away by Timber for Ajax. Picked up once more by Rangers. That's a beautiful ball out to the left-hand side. Very well intercepted though by Campus before he can reach Kent, but he's given it away. Kent into the area. Oh, it's deflected off the post. Timber coming in, almost scoring an own goal. Kent so unlucky. Rangers unlucky. Really, they could have got on the score sheet this evening.
Yeah, they just can't catch a break just now, can the Rangers? That offside obviously with Barisic before then. This time Kent, he's had a quiet game. Come off the defender, but they're getting no luck at all. Hits the post and well, at least to get a corner to attack at last.
Corner, last chance for Rangers to get a consolation. Barisic with the ball in, headed away by Ajax, but will go out for another corner. So a second last chance for Rangers as Van Bronckhorst watches on from the dugouts into the final minute of added time here on 5 Live. Barisic again with the corner again. It's not the best delivery. Ajax head the ball away, helped on by Klassen up towards the halfway line. Header is one for Rangers and picked up by Ryan Kent, who'll go for it from 30 yards, tried to curl it and it bounces off past Veer. And he just about prevents the corner. Well, that looked like being a very simple take for the Ajax goalkeeper. 38 years old, raises a hand of sheepish apology to the Johan Cruyff Arena, but he did get there in the end.
Well, he's probably not really warmed up yet because there's very little to do today. But to be fair, it would have been interesting to see if Rangers could have asked him a few more questions. They couldn't, and it's finished.
Well, there is the full-time whistle. A comfortable victory for Ajax, 4-0 as Rangers return to the Champions League proper. Ends in disappointment, and Pat Nevin, it is a cliche, but it is apt on this occasion. It was a game of two halves.
It was a game of two halves. I mean, I thought Ajax were fantastic in the first half. Rangers were quite naive. They sent out a very, very attack-minded side with, you know, Tillman and Kent and Wright and Colak. And to be fair, that is really, really a big call to do that away from home against one of the great sides in European football. It backfired. It backfired massively on them. And they were hammered in that first half. They were lucky to get away 3-0. We've got to be fair about it. They were lucky. Changed it in the second half. Took too long to change, but they were a much better side. And that'll give them a little bit of lift that when Ajax do come to Ibrox Park, it won't be the same game. And they will know a lot more about themselves. They'll know a lot more about the opposition. But you learn quick in this competition. Well, you better. Because if you don't, you won't be hanging around long.
And that's it, isn't it, Pat? It's got to be a learning point now. It's back in Europe. Let's not back in the Champions League. Let's not dismiss that. This is a big night for Rangers in that regard, given what they've gone through.
What you've got with Celtic and Rangers, you know, they've come in and they don't actually know how good you're going to be against the very top teams. Celtic had no idea against Real Madrid. Rangers had no idea really against Ajax here. Well, they've learned it, and they'll have to go and put everything they've learned to good use. And I don't think they'll be as open again when they play the next time. There was a huge fear it could have got very ugly tonight at 3, but it didn't, and that's one blessing.
5 games still to come for Rangers in the Champions League group stage, but their return to the top table of European football ends in a 4-0 defeat by Ajax in Amsterdam.
And with